Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we bring warm welcome to Fambulem, both at home and abroad, the wider Sierra Leonean diaspora. But like I say again, not forgetting Fambulem at home. This now the TNN, then and now TV media empire. And today, the 29th of June, 2022, we're about for talk something with very, very important regarding we country. And of course, it's no secret when I go don't see the caption, which is about police brutality in our country. The word or the phrase police brutality will don't become rife. It's not a joke, it is real. There are incidences and issues them which are well documented, which amount to police brutality. But we as journalists and social media pundits, commentators, and analysts can only bring the case counter una fambulem, so we all go look into them as to waiting to happen. There are many questions being asked all over the country today as to what is happening to an institution which is designed and designated for serve and protect the people of Sierra Leone. Unfortunately, from the things them way we see, the things them way we hear, the things them which are documented for quite some time now, it's really appalling, reprehensible, and unacceptable by any standard of any decent and modern society now the world usai we dey. And members say we're not here for make a political, score points or talking points. We are talking realistically about an issue where they affect we country. This is no joke. And we are not pointing finger at a particular time. Yes, we will talk about a time, but we can go back in time and see who side some of these problems then begin. But we don't need for forget say the problem is so rife back in the 1980s. The politicization of the police force. Our people, let me they use a willy-nilly politicians them for that matter. And all of this culminated into a civil war where we fought. We, after all, we try for reform the police. And indeed, the police was reformed. But are we finding ourselves back into a time that we thought was way behind us? Will the police or does the police need reform? Is police brutality, which is much heralded today, institutional? So these are all the questions that we get for put today to a panel of special professional guests in person of lawyer Mohammed Shilon and brother Mada Musa. I can tell you now from which I don't see a Yeri, these two people are very fit for this conversation today. For moderate this program, not forgetting, it's a very special sister, a very special voice on the program, and she's none other than Sister Janet Martha Musa. And I want to say welcome to the panelists there today. Mother, welcome for the first time on the Then and Now. Mr. Shilon, welcome.
Thank you.
Then and now, we are proud to have you too. And we don't say today not the first, but this definitely is not going to be the last. And Sister Janet, it's over to you for moderate this all interesting program where we hope for thousands and thousands of Sierra Leoneans then for see, watch, and probably opine on. Over to you.
Thank you so very much. Well, again, I want to welcome Mr. Mada Musa and Mr. Chilon. I mean, I'm so proud to have you guys on this program. And I know say, I mean, having you guys, we will delve into the problem that is rife in our country, which is police brutality. But before we do that, I just want to read something very quickly from your end. I will say the police should strike the right balance between powers of the police and the rights and freedom of the public. How, right. Mr. Madam Musa, let me go straight to you. How true is this? How true is this statement? A reflection of this in our own society. How do we? Would we say the police and they do that? What did they ask Maya? So expect. Okay.
I'll read it. Say your statements again, please.
Yeah, it say the police must strike the right balance between powers of the police and the rights and freedoms of the public.
Definitely, it is true. I mean, yes. that's actually what we're supposed to do as police officers.
Yes. So now when we have this problem in Sierra Leone, we get the problem inside the police them, just they do anyhow they like. What do you get in mind? What would you want to say to them? You being a police officer in the US, and they train police officers. What you want to tell we police force in Sierra Leone?
Well, let me just start by saying thank you to you and to my brother Prince for Ona invites me for coming on this program. You guys want us to speak in English or just talk Creole? No matter.
Let me just speak, because we want people in a free tongue as far as in the villages to be able
Yes,
to
we can
speak.
flow in and out, yeah. Because we get a lot of foreign nationals that we can watch and the topic is also of interest to foreign nationals as well.
Yes, okay. Right.
So I just want for telling thank you for actually giving me this opportunity for come up here and for come and be part of this panel. I believe policing in general, whether we're talking about the United States, whether we're talking about Europe or Salon, we need reform. And the reason being because in the police department, and I'm talking about this even including the United States, because I keep saying United States because I know somebody out there wants to know about, okay, you're talking about Salon police, but what about the American police? Because I believe that policing, like the policy, procedures, the police manuals, and special orders that we follow, some of these are actually outdated. They made all these laws, they made all these articles and special orders back in the day when certain things were acceptable, when it's okay for you to just arrest this person and put them somewhere and do whatever you want to do with them without any type of repercussion at all. So I believe in police reform. I'm a police officer, and I believe in that we need to reform as far as what police can do and what police cannot do, and that we need to connect the gap. We need to bring back that gap because right now the gap is so wide. We need to bridge that gap so that the people that we serve can start building their trust, that they will start trusting us again to patrol their streets, to respond to their incidents, and to handle their cases accordingly. So yeah, I do believe in police reform.
Thank you so very much, Madam Musa. I don't want to keep Mr. Shilon waiting for too long. Mr. Shilon, from a legal standpoint, how you want to address the police brutality where you don't read so many things about? You've seen videos and all of that. How do you address this?
Well, first of all, let me tell you, thank you for inviting me on the show. I hope I will meet the expectation for being an invitee. But let me just tell you now, what in a new view, because we cannot touch police brutality in Sierra Leone without talking about the political history with respect to the misuse of the police, as way back as, of course, Mr. Prince say in the 80s, but you go all the way back to the 70s, even the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
So, for what they say the 60s, after independence, this go way back to the Stephen era. So, many agree for saying not to point fingers at any particular political party, but the institution of policing has been broken. And that concept that we need to rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't rebuild institutions or maintain the efficiency of institutions if capable of competent people are not appointed to head these institutions. When you begin to inject political appointments that are not based on competence, that appointments without the requisite or the right qualification, the consequence is what we see back home. So, Sierra Leone, as I see now, let me just give you an example. I used to have an uncle who rose to the rank in Sierra Leone to the rank of Assistant Commissioner of Police back in the days. And every now and then, he lived to be 94. And he died here in the United States, buried here too. So he used to tell with some real interesting stories that during the time of Shaka Stevens, he would call the police officers, the senior officers, the deputies, commissioners, assistant commissioners, you could call them and tell them, say, we want invite in our state house. Everybody comes. Then they give them boxes of
Okay, I don't know if
whiskey.
una the lawyer Shilon in voice, but you don't go really low. I don't think say guest in the area. Maybe Janet, you can intervene while you try for adjust in audio. Probably raise the volume up, but it's gone really low. We hear you very clear, sir. Janet. All right, I think Janet herself is mute. Okay.
Okay.
So yes, you're back, sir. Go on. You're back.
Okay. So I'd like to give some background with respect to waiting me on cool when I be assistant commissioner of police. Right then it'll be CPO, it'll be OC, everything. But tell me say in the Stevens era, which is quite contrary to what they inherit from the white people. What they do, then they call the police, the senior officers then. Pashaki himself would tell the senior officers, after giving them boxes of whiskey as bribe or gift, they would tell and say, well, a coroner, because we boys them, would be in operation. One popular place now, the Freetown area where them be left for attack, na Ginger Hall. They say, we boys them go there, so we area a lot of commotion. Houses may be burnt. People may be attacked. So he can tell and say, well, gentlemen, I just want them to not send the police there. Because our boys then they in operation. So this go way back when politicians are beginning for misuse. We cannot go say misuse the police, which among the many wonderful institutions that we inherit from colonialism. And this is how we begin for destroy them. So when APC kind of power, then begin for misuse the police for political reasons. And that trend they continue to this day. Now, and then the other thing is, we get a situation now in Sierra Leone where the police chief is the law all unto himself, because he make declarations then where I don't think the constitution or any statute in the country or parliament give an power there. So it run the country as if he is the law. And I don't have to be a police expert, nor do I claim to be one. But my own experience tells me that, for example, with the LAG dispute with the going now in Australia, I mean, to me, that's a basic law enforcement policy. You arrest somebody in a lawful way and try to determine if, in fact, he is the person accused of the crime. But what you would see where they go in Australia now, the police itself don't take position. They don't not only they don't arrest the gentleman, they don't try him, they don't convict him. So it basically decides in time in terms of whether strip him, whether cut in here. This not only abuse of power. To me, it is just wrong from beginning to end. And the trouble with that is, if we not criticize that, what's going to happen? It will happen to one of we loved ones. Then, if we not try to see the wrongness in what they do. So, me on problem with what in the going Australia, Chief Savula need forget some kind of checks and balance. He cannot be free to just do as he pleases because he's the police chief. I don't know what kind of guidelines they have, but it's clear to me the law has been kicked to the wayside. That's what we see in Australia. That nothing seems to be within the bounds of civilized behavior. Nothing seems to be within the bounds of law and order. It would see now more vigilantism, but promoted by the police chief himself. And then the president is generally very quiet, you know. And I don't think that's the way we want to country forget an iron fist police chief who is not accountable to anyone, who cannot be sued. and who is free to do as he pleases. And the fact that the RSF said and get a detention place then called Benghazi. I'm wondering if this Benghazi is not the official name of the place.
You know, Mr. Shillon, I just want to hold you right there.
Yeah.
You know, this Benghazi, there's an argument out there, very controversial conversation where, I mean, we were there out here when we listened to Sierra Leoneans saying, but you all right, men and can go now Benghazi go creep them here, deal with them because they're lawless people. These are the people, these are the very people who are holding this argument that they will set for say there is police brutality. You freedom not to be interfered with in that way, but they are accepting it. So what are we saying, Mr. Shillon? Because Benghazi get their own policy where they say if they can you go there, they get for scraping here, they get for this, they get for that, and people are supporting this. What can we do in this situation?
Well, the people who are saying this not seem to understand the implications of what in itself they advocate. Because people should understand that when you threaten the freedom of one person, you threaten everybody else's freedom.
Yes.
And that now it's easy for them because you know affect them for say, and then they empower the police in the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you say the police can beat or maltreat someone who you don't know, you cannot, you don't undermine the security we used to get when the police eventually go beat someone where you know or very close to you. To protect everybody, you get for even protect the one the way you know like their rights to be free of abuse. So with people and what they say, oh, then forbid them, and I don't even understand what you mean by Australian lawless. Isn't Chief Sovula himself lawless? Is it not? Because what is lawlessness? Lawlessness now where you go beyond the bounds of what in society prescribed, your behavior what society prescribed. For example, last summer, Chief Sovula on his own, when he say people and they come for defend themselves, particularly women going home from abroad on holiday visit or visitation. Some of these women will say they will carry spray for defend themselves in the event they are attacked.
You were arrested.
Okay, yeah, Chief Sovula, without any authority to do so, issue an order, say anybody in possession of that then spray in the, you know, Ingo get them arrested. Well, if he arrests them, bear in mind, I don't know how we go prosecute them, because I'm sure they not get local statutes or national statutes or acts will prohibit the possession of those kind of spray. But on his own, he just decides to say, you know, issue an order, say nobody should have them. He will arrest them. And he continues to be in this track of just declaring things. And then the other misuse of the police, because you see, every time you misuse police, then get so much power because then they act on behalf of the state.
Yes.
And so the uniform and the badge entitle them to a lot of activities where ordinary people are not entitled for engaging. So when you say without power, they were the police then gets, you say there should be no checks and balances.
It should be.
I mean, because if there are no checks and balances, so every police officer has the discretion for decide in any given situation how to manhandle anyone. Nowhere in the world do I know that you will arrest somebody, you caught in here or creeping head, and say that is right. So these are the things we should guard against. But we have everything that boils down now to politics. This is the problem.
Right.
The other thing I understand, if I can bear with me 1 minute. For example, even the judiciary now, themselves get a mistake. For example, you had a magistrate who arrested certain people who went to visit this LAG guy. And I've never seen Sierra Leone where the average case they take 5-6 years in a matter of days. This magistrate, they were able to try these people for visiting, and they say they engage in disorderly conduct. There was no description in terms of what the actual act of misconduct were, and then give them. These people have no prior record. These were just friends. He gave them 3 years in prison. That also tells me the magistrates and judges are not being well trained in terms of they too, like the police, have to exercise and use reasonable discretion in the exercise of their power. Because nowhere in the world, even America, as much as we can disagree with some things in there, I mean, orderly protest will not yield anyone an active time in prison, let alone 3 years. What did the magistrate base that on? You know, and then my thing is the lawyers then for be more proactive for challenge them in the day. Now court, it's time for them for challenge the ruler in power where it all usurp from parliament or from wherever I get them. And it's time for even challenge the magistrate then by appealing some of them arbitrary, abusive exercise of the power. But you cannot give somebody 3 years active time in jail for engaging in what he calls disorderly conduct, without actually even describing what the disorderly, what conduct was disorderly that he felt warranted 3 years in prison. So you can't just take away people's freedom that way, you know.
Okay, so Mr. Madam,
so
I want to let you come explain to me the police and this whole definition of
brutality.
Well, brutality, police brutality was put in charge. Then 12 or 13 people there when it's disorderly conduct and riotous conduct and whatever. You know, when you go into the statute, Mr. Sheila, I've been sharing with you, the definition is all crowded, too wide, you know, so it's really difficult. But you as a police officer, where they train people in, this you don't find out, Mr. Sheila don't talk about, we don't see the police and they use discretionary powers, which is very dangerous for society. What can you say to the police if you train them? Say you were going to train them, going at the police academy. What can you do to put down this discretionary power we didn't get to?
So thank you. First, if you're watching and can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
So in the first place, if you're out there, you're just listening or you're watching the show and you are wondering what we're talking about is explain to brutality. With teasing, we actually
Fambulan, just a quick one again, and sorry for intervene. We brought out the try for answer a very critical question, but apparently
your own person.
Okay, I think it don't become clear now. It been very unclear. Okay, and it's still unclear. So I think this is a bandwidth problem. It's a bandwidth problem, but as soon as it clear up. Mother, you hear me? Okay, so we don't lose It's a bandwidth problem. Hopefully, go sign on again. And just a quick reminder, Fambulen, for those of you watching the program here tonight, we are having a program on this platform, the TNN, Then and Now TV Media Empire, with two special, very, very special guests, and a moderate way known to with media world we operate from. It is the issue of police brutality which has become rife in Sierra Leone. And we get lawyer Shilon, and we brother Mada, we've been addressed the question. Unfortunately, there was some reception interference, so we lost them briefly. Let me see whether the audio don't clear. Yeah, Mother?
Yeah. I'm back.
Okay, so you will get the question clearly and you are back now, so you can respond, sir.
Yeah, so police brutality now, any kind of engagement where police engage with the citizens of the country and any form where they overstep the boundary, like what things police supposed to do. I mean, if I arrest somebody, the duties of the police officer is to, in the first place, when you get an incident, you respond and try to investigate and see what happened. Okay, after you don't investigate, you find out for say a crime did occur, and then your next step is for apprehend the suspect. Take the suspect into custody, take him to the station, and do all the paperwork. After that point, you hand over to the court system. And in a country where every system they work accordingly, police officers at that time will be witnesses. Police officers are witnesses. They observe somebody. So that's why we took this person into custody. And during the processing, and this is everywhere, suspect, and for other people, suspect are somebody who don't arrest, a subject. People have the right, while in police custody, they have the rights to certain privileges. Okay, we'll come to that later. When you deny those privileges to some people, you're violating their rights. Okay, certain privileges like phone calls, right? You have certain privileges. Once police say, I'm not gonna allow you any phone calls, with exceptions, because to every law, exception, right?
So we seem for the encounter this problem with brother.
One phone call people that and also
carry on, please. Carry on. It's clear now. Okay. So the Fambulem again today on the 29th of June 2022. We're having a very interesting, very important, and very necessary discussion. My brother Mada was asked a question and he's addressing it to me very precisely and making very good points. Unfortunately, the bandwidth with the video is playing up, and so therefore it's breaking. We're not actually get the part 1 for way or how we're supposed for area. So that's really bad because we need to get everything where the expert guests they had to say. So anyway, just a quick reminder, this particular program is being live streamed simultaneously to 2 platforms. That's YouTube and Facebook. So if you watch, try for engage on the platform. I mean, we can disagree for agree. This is democracy. This is Sierra Leonean business. And not so because you disagree with me for heap insults on you and expletives. No, you're entitled to your opinion, but what you can always say, even though you get an entitlement, but try for reference your opinion a little bit so that we will understand a few things as to whose side the opinion stand, not just 2 things out there. But tonight we are talking about police brutality. And as we hear from lawyer Shilon, he gives you a historical narrative, a historical context as to the beginning, after independence, what we inherit and how we conduct ourselves off to the point where we did so. But we know say it has become rife. And I say from the beginning of the program, we fought a civil war because of the breakdown of law and order, disrespect for the society, and unfair challenges in opportunity will not be available for all, but just a few. And we police been right in the thick of things. And Sheila make that clear as well, that people were being abused left, right, and center, and politicians then they use the police for get at the own very people and where they're supposed for rule, just for political gains. But don't fit this word on. The police was revived, was reformed. We see them reformed and the millions of dollars were spent by foreign friends that we can help with during the time of need. But are we creeping back into that moment? And this is the thing. And both of the guests who spoke and the moderator, we asked the question, very necessary questions. It's unfortunate that we get Sierra Leone and when we talk about things that related to the ambit of the law, they are outside of the law, including people that were supposed for sabi the law according to lawyer Shilon, which happened to be the police director himself, the IG of the country, who is now a law in some concern to himself. And they do things right in the presence of everybody, including the judiciary and the president, and yet certain quarters they would expect for talk, they remain silent. Something has to happen. And the question here is it an issue of just few bad apples? But if we say the police director himself is carrying out these acts of atrocities and barbarism, and they support that, and the authorities them are quiet, then it doesn't seem like a case of just few bad apples. It seems like it's almost institutional. Of course, they do have very good people in the police, but the high brass them, I mean, see what's happening. So, Lawyer Shilon, why would they wait for? I wonder whether Sister Janet is there.
Yes, I am here. Yes, I
Okay.
really want I want deep into it, Mr. Shilon say, and everything Mr. Shilon say, not true. Because we go back to 1967, when maybe just begin get sense, and no means around them. And not say the police them be they beat people and this and that, blah blah blah. But that was coming from the others above, the president himself. I don't get no proof for that. So we are saying, we just say alleged, say that for my good come out, but those days, when I say election tense, you go find out say them police are all over the place, they beat people and blah blah blah. And you begin to wonder, that's so it been time. The way they just say, let's say it been time. Oh, what's going on? The governments, they use the police them for abuse the very people that when they're supposed to protect. So you begin to wonder, the police that don't lost the ability for know wrong from right. Mr. Shilon, let's go to that question again, please. Because sometimes it's very, people that they argue now say, Mr. Shilon, I'll tell you this again. I say, well, police brutality is all over the place. It's in the UK, it's in the US, it's everywhere. So not to Salon no more. But we don't want it in Sierra Leone. How do you address this, Mr. Shilon?
Well, some of the things we have to be careful about.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people are very easy for points to advanced countries and say when they get the same thing. If you say we'll get too much murder, now Sierra Leone, they say, oh, well, then get in England and get in America and get in Australia. I think that's a very dangerous comparison now. Because me, they talk about institutions. Yeah, we get police brutality now. Yeah? And we know most of the police brutality is based mostly on racial animus, perpetrated by the whites or police officers. Then their method of even arresting people, then teach them the right thing at police training school, but they cannot resist the temptation of injecting the emotional part of them, when depending on the race of the arrestee. But I don't know of any situation where it has been so extreme. Nothing can be more extreme than killing people, shooting people. Some of which a lot of we are, of course, condemn, but that's a different argument. But they try to see what you people can forget for remember. They in place here, they get institutions like the court system that are very well placed, and they are so solid where you can take your grievance to. I mean, you can take your complaint as far as to the U.S. Supreme Court. There are civil liabilities. What people don't understand, when police they brutalize people, sometimes people lost their life. The need for follow-up, what happens? Usually, because, the police system is a little bit, as centralized as Sierra Leone. Okay? People do pay, these police officers do cause the employers, where usually in the cities, for pay millions of dollars in damages. Okay? So if one do comparison, then we also say, okay, police brutality is in America. So if police then beats people, then that person they can sue, they will get millions of dollars. But we're not straight to the case that way. So not to everything we get for look at America or England, for examples. We get common sense, we're well educated. And Mr. Musa Denaya, a police officer, a very well educated man. We not learn all them book here, not for use with your own common sense. So the one that way they back home, like Chief Sovula, I don't know which in academic or police experience or credential. But I think there's a thing called common sense. Because don't forget, say, everything we would practice in Australia, now thing what we inherited from the rich people. Before the whites and the left, unless there was a riot, I don't know of instances in which they may go around beating people for mostly for political reasons. But when we take over, instead of we improve the system, what can we do? We begin to misuse the system by turning it into a force against the people, for political benefit. Sometimes, in fact, it also bad in Australia now. The police is being used for criminality. If you get your land, this is common thing where they happen in Australia now. You get your land where you own, somebody can just go pay police, then come make massive presence on your property and say, if you cannot, we'll go arrest you. People are being driven off their land, which they show of the presence of police. So is that Australian we want? That not they exist now. America not they exist now. Australia, there are laws who will guard against that. But so we on police now, they don't go way beyond, arresting or enforcing criminality. They are part of the problem themselves. And the chief himself is perpetuating it.
Okay, so we don't lost Lawyer Shilon in audio.
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah, he's still there, but we've lost his audio. Can you hear him? No, in
We
audio,
need to let him know.
No, in audio is lost.
I think.
Yes.
No, I think what happened. Can you hear me now? I think
you're back. You're back.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm sorry. A phone call was coming in since I'm using my telephone,
Yeah.
and it never occurred. Yeah, I should have just cut it off. So,
we know you're in your office. You're taking your time to come and join us, so we appreciate you. Yeah.
well, but this is a very interesting topic, and I think we need
Yes.
for really deal with it expansively, because this is bad. It's terrible. The police are supposed for protect people. Like Mr. Prince said, this is not an issue of bad apple. This has become policy of the police.
Yes.
So this is part of it, and then they encourage them and teach them for just be a law unto themselves. When have you ever heard of a police officer being arrested for abusing somebody, for maltreating somebody?
Thank you, Mr. Shilon. Thank you. That's the argument I furthered. I tell the person, say, if you compare USA and UK and Europe, say police them then they brutalize and this and that. I say, but whose police where you know you're in Africa say they be sue because he brutalized somebody, or who's say you're in say then pay damages to that person when they brutalize. So we were made a comparison. I'm happy that you brought that up today. So we begin to tell people in Australia and say police they now become law to themselves. Whatever they do to you, they're no side for go cry.
Exactly. That's the situation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a very good point, sir. Very good point. I think Mada is back. Mada is back, and probably I don't know whether you remember the question where Sister Janet be asked. Will be very critical, and you be able to address them. But unfortunately, the internet seemed for the play up, and every time you address something very serious, we cannot lose you.
Okay,
so
maybe you should use audio. Maybe Mr. Mada should use this audio other than video. Maybe that will help.
Yeah, maybe you forget about your video because that will reduce the intake of and then your audio it will help for upgrade them. Yeah.
Okay.
So you are on now, and carry on, please.
So so I don't know why I get these problems. Of course, I can do the video all the time, the record. So I don't know, but so as I was saying earlier, police brutality. Like the lawyer actually don't touch on some of the stuff that I wanted to talk about, because when I posted that video where they talk about say, hey, this is not police work. The police went a little bit too far and then abused this guy's human rights, abused him physically and all that stuff. So some people came up to me like, oh, you're not American police. and they started making comparisons. So the lawyer, Sheila just said it. He said, if we're making these comparisons, and this is one thing about Salon, whenever something happens, there's a reason why we have experts in every field. There's a reason why some people determine, like, okay, maybe I'm not making too much, but I need to go into this field and study extensively. So in case something happens, I'll be in better position to explain to people, to educate people. And together we can all learn together and move forward. But in Salon, that is, I don't know, it doesn't work in Salon, because every time you have to explain to somebody, they will look for 1, 2, 3, or 4 negative examples somewhere, and try to make comparisons. And now, so if we're saying we are going to we're going to use Americans' example, what about what lawyer Sheila just said? How many police officers accountable, or have we? Under my comment, somebody, what about George Floyd? Happened that are they still in? Yes. Before the United States, we are taking right now to change how police operate, to change how police officers react. Because if we send somebody, we give them all the trust, say, you guys are supposed to uphold the law. You're supposed to enforce the law. If you're not enforcing it, if you're breaking it, there's no respecting it. That in itself is corruption, right? That in itself is brutality. Because if I don't assign you, say, I need you for do this and this, why and this, and it's in the one, what hire you for do, you're not only not doing that, but you're also violating them. You see, so these are the things that we're talking about. So we need reform. We need for police officers say, hey, this is time. It's about time. And I'm saying this. I'm not saying this about this current Salon police. I'm talking about Salon police as a whole, in general, irrespective of who is the president right now. We need to reform police. We need to go back and revisit. I've been to the police station wearing I took a friend down there. This guy, somebody. The police officer that we case to, police officer say, you don't get pen, you don't get paper, you don't get nothing. In fact, not in the right report, I need to talk to, or was it a detective and stuff. How on earth you responded for incident, then report something to you, you say you know able right time. We all know, say, we hold in a high school, in elementary school. If I tell you one thing, it passes to Janet, it passes to lawyer Sheila. By the time it gets to Prince, what I've said to Janet will have been like modified, changed so many times.
Yeah.
So if something happened to me and I'm telling you this is what happened to me, and if you're not able or you cannot spell anything, how would you to investigate anything? We have so many police officers. Let's talk about reform. That I'm looking at. So if you don't understand anything, how you go understand waiting at your police manual? How are you going to understand it?
Yes. Yeah.
How are you going to understand it? If I cannot read, I'm going to depend on Janet to explain to me everything. So if Janet don't go read something, talk say under section 1, 2, 3, police officer is not supposed to do this. I did not read it. If even somebody was reading, you don't know that's what they said. I'm operating under what Janet told me to be true. So most of these police officers, sometimes these are police. I have the power because, like Janet truly said, where you were that.
Yeah.
So, Madala, just because you're fading in and out, but I think the point is well made. But before Sister Janet, you're popping probably with the next question for Lawyer Shilon, or maybe a follow-up to which you dip. I just want to ask this quickly. We tend to understand what the problems are. And if you understand, scientifically speaking, if we understand what the problems are, then we should be able to find solutions. And you rightly don't articulate some of what the problems are. And some of these problems, as per what you say, now we self the Sierra Leonean people them. Now we responsible. Because if we badly want some change, I wonder whether the panel go agree with me. If we badly want some change, collectively, we can ask and demand for them change their name. But somehow the society appear to be divided, like what you say, matter. Something very clear we they talk about within the ambit of the law, and then you get people them on the outside of the law. They say, but this thing that happened in America, oh, they kill yonder. How does two wrong make right? How does something that happened outside of the law? And remember, I said then comparison and when they make so, like lawyer Shilon say, like racism within the police force, where we know who are the perpetrator and waiting to happen. But there are consequences. And every time then they develop, new rules for avoiding situation then they. But we are not. We stand for the retrogress. What do we need to do for stop this? I don't know even how for describe, because this is totally uncalled for. I mean, I get for play one or two video for let we look and see what will they talk about. What do you suggest that we need for do? Because we need for talk for solutions as well, not only the problems, which I believe at some point in the show, although I don't preempt them, we'll have to talk about. But just wait till you see, what do you think?
The solutions, right? I don't know if were you asking me or you just ask anybody?
No, I've been ask you because you articulated rightfully so, waiting at the problem them. And some of the mishap the way they happen. That's what I was saying. And I really love that part. This division between us, where they don't create an us and them. This is a real problem. We see something of injustice happen, but just because of the support lawyer Shilon, and lawyer Shilon is wrong, completely wrong, because sometimes the law can be technical. I'm not a lawyer, but I know it can be technical sometimes, and because you're not a lawyer, you're able to prove nothing. But there are so much obvious things. This abuse, somebody the mass person in aid, and I think lawyer Shilon cite something like that again, where happened to LJ. I mean, you share somebody in here off without incontinence, obviously, that's some form of torture because you must have restricted and restrained them. So we know this, and we see them with Sierra Leoneans, them, we hear them, but yet there is an argument, you know, where people and they say, well, LJ pass mark and what have you. Now the question that they ask, what do we need to do in this case, like for educate Sierra Leoneans, them, for understand what is wrong, when it's right, when we can play around all of this?
Yeah, so thank you so much. I think one step, we are doing what we need to do in the first place. Like, what do we do? So, you know, we need to talk to people, then we need to tell them, say, hey, we are not saying this because of LAJ is a special person. We're not saying this because we are a fan of LAJ. Because number one, I don't talk on it previously. We're not supposed to have to listen to LAJ music. I've never been a fan of his. But right is right, wrong is wrong. Where you violate somebody right, because if you're doing it to LAJ tomorrow, if I go to salon and I tell you, say, hey, no, you're not supposed to touch me like this, or you did something to me, I'm not going to expect you to treat me differently, because when you did that to LAJ, I did not say anything about it, you know? And so the thing is, that's number one. Number one, we have to keep talking about it. Let's educate as much people as possible so that NSF will begin to say, okay, now this is not about SLPP, this is not about APC, but this is between right versus wrong. The second thing we need to do, we need to go into the police department and actually watch within, and then somebody talking, say standard SOP. Let's look at it, you know. Let's look at this SOP and see. And also, I think, say, police need training. As I'm talking to you right now here, next week, I have training. Sometimes I'm like in a whole week, I'm going to, they call it continued educational training, CET, right? And which make we get this, because every now and then the laws are changing, policing is changing, we see incidents happening. So even today, we have a pass in our department. They have a pass system where if they change anything within the police manual or the special orders, then they send on the pass so that you can read them and see what's in happen. So we have this training, continued education, and see people then educate each other. And also, let's set a standard. You know, how can you have a police officer who no, I mean, if you don't spell everything, but you don't know how to write time. I mean, you go tell and say it's CAT, but does not know what is C. You don't know if C the turn to the left or C to the turn to the right. You're not doing anything. We're not changing anything, right? So we need for going to the policing and put a standard, say, hey, X, Y, and Z. And also, we need to encourage people them. You know, when it comes to rights, I don't care if you're not APC, if you're not SLPP, but
Mr.
unfortunately,
Musa, are you talking about education?
yeah, education. Yeah,
for maybe them change the requirement and order for join police, because I mean it appears a good number of them are dropouts. We don't get better education. We don't go join the police and see like a leeway to gaining employment. Some of them cannot write, like you clearly said. So I think that they would begin for the educational requirement. You know, I just want to inject that there quickly and allow you for continue.
Yes. Continued educational training. So the educational, that is one, and also we get forget some type of. We need to forget a requirement. Say you have to have completed certain level in education. I'm not saying go get a master's, go get a bachelor's. No, but sometimes be able to at least construct a sentence. All right. And another thing is because we have some people who are educated in the system. So not downplay that. Don't me say, hey, all these people are not educated. Some of them are actually educated, but because the system, like the lawyer rightfully said, this is not just like one apple, you know, among 10,000 apples. No, it's actually a bunch of apples that are all already spoiled that we need to change. So because of that, even when you have the good ones like the Superintendent Sayo Conte, you know, I applaud that guy because he actually spoke out to say this is not police training. And that's why I keep telling people who ask me all the time, say, oh, you're talking about America, you're talking about Europe. No. Superintendent of police in Sierra Leone said, no, we were not trained this way. This is not what we're supposed to do. So maybe we can actually encourage people like that when things happen so they speak up. Because if we continue for talk, narrate, and TV station, radio station, on social media, and meet out my brother and tell me brother, say, hey, this is not a police work, and the police did do something wrong. If we continue to spread out those messages and we change educational requirements and we give police them more training and also hold officers accountable for what they're going to ask, I believe so we'll see changes. Until that is done, we just do waste of time because, well, people don't just do it in time because we get for take actions. You know, I'm not talking about call action, physical action, violence, or do anything. No, but we get for continue for talk against these things. A lot of times, some people, because of after this verdict, I see a lot of write-ups. People then say, well, the way Tyrone go right now, you know, youth them and all I say nothing, we're not talking nothing. If police arrest you, go yeah, that's fine. You know, or when as a police officer, when I went to work that morning, it was awkward. You know why? Because a good number of us who actually knew this guy was wrong, this guy did not follow police training, were in one side of the room, and then the other bad people. Well, I'm not anybody, but people who like, oh, maybe something, blah 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 blah. They were in a different side of the room. I mean, you can just look at some people, you know, like, okay, this person is happy that this is happening, and then you can look at us, and you're like, no, we are not happy that this is happening. So I think we need to tell people like, hey, this police, we need for change the police. I'm not saying sack everybody, but when you do something, you have to be held responsible. You have to be held responsible. Either you as an individual or the entire police department.
Thank you so much.
Many thanks for that. Yeah, Sister Janet Largest, before you go to Lawyer Shilon, whilst on the same topic of police brutality, let me watch one quick video so people can get a feel as to, not pleasant, and I go advise viewer discretion because the video is unpleasant and be comfortable for some viewer them. Well, let's see what we're talking about, some of it. So probably we not see and fine. Let we see her one more time. There's a critical side where I want to let family men see. Imagine what the police did to the guy's head. That's it. Can you imagine that? Yeah, Janet, over.
You know, Mr. Kroma, when I see that video there, I mean, I was shocked. I was just saying to myself, if the police can, somebody where you only have when they fight, when they resist arrest or anything, you whapping in a gun. Is this out of ignorance or just these people are reckless people to get inside the court? We have certain people and we're just reckless. We're not gonna respect for the human life. We they violate we rights anyhow they want. Pity factor. Because I'm really angry now, you know. But also the one that within the Minister of Internal Affairs. That's what I wanted to bring to your attention. The Minister of Internal Affairs is still all in here. So I think to celebrate Mr. Madam Musa say, maybe we need now forget attention. The Minister of Internal Affairs will say, look, now you they in charge of the police them away from the IG set. Now you know the minister when they look into all the activities there. So for say these things are happening in our society and we want you to look at them. You know, because the IG, what will they look up to? In on turn, we come into a police state. You know, if you say they're above the law, they just introduce any kind of law we want. You know, I think
that we have people here.
Yeah, sorry, Sister Janet, continue.
Yeah. So yes, Mr. Shillon. So I am focusing on the Minister of Internal Affairs. What do you say? What do you want to say to the Minister of Internal Affairs? Because I in charge of them police so and everything about them. We're talking about institutional. This institution has been battered and bruised by people in political office.
Well, let me tell you, the problem is so institutionalized in terms of, the sad part about our country. Every major institution, from the judiciary to the civil service, you name it, to education. And I want people to disagree with me. I'd like for somebody to tell me if they can point at any one institution where we inherited from independence, where we don't improve, where today better pass how we take them. I don't know of any, but I may be mistaken. As far as I know, the court system is worse. The policing system is worse. The medical system is worse. You name it. It seems like we just get this inability for improve anything we touch. And that cannot be based on any facts other than the fact that we don't care. We are more about we serve. We are not there to serve the people, because these are very well-educated people holding these positions. And yet we not see the service within the render. The video we just see just now. That officer didn't all enact the boy hit na ground. I think in by a rock. A rock that may cause concussion. And we will not get neurologists, we will not get brain surgeons then as Sierra Leone. And more than likely that must be So these are some of the problems. And we have a president, not a country, who is just muted about the whole thing, says nothing. Even when all these things are being done in name or the name in the name of government. So, and this has nothing to do with APC, SPP, because I've always argued. Some people may disagree with me, but I have never seen any great distinction between the two political parties, because they both have a history of having ruled and governed. So we cannot ignore the similarities and then commonalities. I've always argued that APC and SPP are two sides of the same coin. If you flip the coin, regardless of how we end up, The value is the same. So when we talk about the ordinary people, may take this opportunity for begin to educate people, because we are doomed. Anybody would think, say, if you shift from SLPP, you go APC, Salon go better, you just don't understand the problem. Anybody would think, say, if you go, you have APC, you come to SLPP, Salon go better, you don't understand the problem. Because these guys are one and the same. We therefore begin to look hard into what alternatives them, you know, because when you see the other thing, for example, where Mr. Musa, they talk about the police or police reformation. Now, why can't we use way on common sense? Okay, for example, we know we have high level of illiteracy. We know say people that will come complain, we're going to take recorded statements. Now, two ways. The person he can't talk na limba or timini or minde. Why not just take a recorded statement on audio to start with from that person there? So we're not going to miss the essence of what it is said, and nothing will be transcribed wrongly. And then get the police itself by now, if we're not smart enough to create some kind of level where you could get consistent with what Mr. Musa they recommend, people who are good writers. So anybody can present a tape recorder to anybody for record. Get certain people who can write well, who can transcribe well, for transcribe that into writing or whichever way we want for reform the police. So nothing the person said or did not say can be distorted. But one thing about it, we'll go back to the system again. And we therefore agree on this. One of the things with the kill salon, well, I mean, there are two things that things they make one of the progress. With all them book here over the land. But the book not the help we. In fact, the book over the land, it just create excess weight on the system. Because when they go there with them PhDs here, the LLM, all the big degrees. But again, I challenge anybody. Who do you know? Let me take me your profession. In the legal field, LLM. You get a bunch of guys who have LLM Oxford, LLM here, PhD Cambridge, all this thing. Tell me any of these guys you know would not really help for improve the system. You know, the legal system. Tell me anybody where they propose anything for not only for dispense justice, but for facilitator. Would they go with getting big credentials there or put the papers on the wall, but would not add anything to the quality of life of the people? And all of this get for stop because to me it's so, one is unfair, two is cruel. We would all land them book there. I can use myself as an example. Not that I'm trying to promote myself. For me, it's unimaginable. If I were to hold any top-notch, powerful position, how can you have an attorney general, for example, and chief justice? People are being arrested, put in Padeba Road for years before they ever go to trial or make first court appearance. Years you've been held in Padeba Road for minor things like possession of Gamba. And then go tell you, say, well, the attorney general get PhD, you get LLM, you get all this. You sit on a class with the most brilliant people then. And Salona, one continent would misuse the word brilliant, because I don't know of too many brilliant people that Salona produce. Because brilliance also for encompass creativity. I don't think anybody is brilliant if you don't get creative mind. If you can't be resourceful, how brilliant can you be? I think we misuse brilliance in the sense that if you go in a class, you make 99 over 100 and say you're a brilliant person. Well, my definition for brilliance is the guy who can create, who can think on his feet, who can turn things around. That's not the kind of creativity we need to get. So we hardly get brilliant people. But the system is just awful. Mr. Musa just talked about continuing educational training. We in Australia, we don't get any such system, and I guarantee you the professions. Where in America, we get continuing education in the law, in nursing, in accounting, in medicine, you name it. Because education not the end, wait and just give you one diploma for put in the wall. But Sierra Leone, oh, you don't learn all the book. Once you don't get a degree, they're not interested in learning anything else. Nothing. And this go across the board. I know they talk about just police or this or that. So we see we are mentality. So we in a we are worst enemy until we begin to re-examine ourselves. What would they talk about police brutality? If we're interested in solving the problem, we'll therefore begin to compare, do comparison. You get like Mr. Musa, who's an active police officer, and certain other Australians, I'm sure, who have degree in criminal justice. Well, back home, what we want reform, if we notice, we know they try for bring somebody like Mr. Musa or anybody like that for get in view. No, then they get people of the same view. Who want draw constitution? You get people that within a committee, none of whom had ever taken a class in constitutional law for draft of constitution. You know, and on and on and on. And so would run the country. So we see the price we would pay.
So
now we don't begin to get fake degrees, and then the government condone that because a lot of people in the government also have fake degrees. So we're not too big on the degree thing. We all get degrees. So now what you can, the degree to me no matter. Now what you can produce, you know, like they say, the taste of the pudding is eaten.
Okay, Lawyer Shilon. Many thanks there, sir. I want to play one more video, and I go like for the guests them look into that and see what in them make of the video. And this video is quite interesting because this was an exchange between the police spokesman, because we want to talk again inside the remit of the law. The police spokesman, Mr. Brahima Kamara, commonly known as Obre. Emmanuel we invite on this program anyway, but of course he's kind of busy now. A lot of them are busy now, so he'll not be able to turn up for this program. Hopefully we'll get him on another day. So he talk a lot on this video, and 98.1, courtesy to 98.1 people and for this video. Thank you very much. So I just want to play, it's about 4 or 5 minutes long. Maybe we'll go shape them into 2 parts, play the half part first, and see what we'll make of him because he's really important. And I know say some fambulem, some of we be known watch them previously, which even make them even more interesting. So fambulem, do you want to look? Mother, are you there?
You know, say the bar association, one where they don't condemn and say it illegal.
So hang on, let we just start.
Let's look at the legality of it. Maybe we'll go back now.
Very critical.
You know, say the bar association, one where they don't condemn and say it illegal.
Let's look at the legality of it. Maybe we'll go back now. Court and court will discuss them. But me they say, look clear. This is very important. This me get the conviction, say it get legal basis.
So assistant commissioner.
No, clear this one. I beg. Okay. This is very important. This is not the way I did the argument there.
Okay, continue.
I might be right or wrong. No law get somebody who get person guy the interpreter. Understand? I might be wrong or right. So but let's look at the legal basis, within the constitution, within the law say. If you read cap 150 of the laws of Sierra Leone of 1960, if you look at cap 150, section 65, give the police power for make standing orders. Then at the generic form. Or 65 of that one, they tell you say the police provide standing orders for the one of having for one cell and the people where they inside the cell. But all left cap 150 because we see that only in 1960. 4 years after, in 1964, when the Police Act of 1964. Check section 59, subsection 6. It is still there. So which means waiting in a cap 150 was adopted in the 1964 Police Act. I'm still coming. And then people will say, I know people will talk about section 17115. Now the Constitution where they say anything not in tandem, any law not in conformity with the Constitution is a nullity.
Okay, I want to stop on for this now because Lawyer Shilon, there is so much said there, and I wonder whether you're able to unpack them for we because this now constitutionality, now the law, and the imbalance system, and you're waiting the man say, I suppose. So I wonder whether you're able to break down for we, so we self when a lay person go try for understand a little bit whether there were contradictions or what exactly been try for say.
Okay, let me tell you the problem we'll get. You know, Sierra Leone now we begin to understand what's in a constitutional law. For too long, we operate under the common law, which did not take into account too much protection of the constitutional rights where people can get, because everything was under this common law. So now I talk about the police can get standing orders. I think the basic understanding people need to have, with Sierra Leone, for better or for worse, we don't move from parliamentary democracy to constitutional democracy, which means parliament is subservient to the constitution, not the other way around. Parliament is not at liberty to just pass any law. Any laws will parliament pass for be within the given authority from the constitution. See, this is the thing. So we are having difficulty adjusting to that mentality there. For say, so when parliaments make any laws, they get to be consistent with the provision of the constitution. Parliament not get any power for make laws, any kind of law. All this caption 150 way to talk about, those were old laws long before we even get we begin for take constitution into account. Okay, and that's one of the reasons why. And I read to say just not and say any kind of law where there's arguments about anything where they not modify in the constitution of of laws that will be exist like this cap 150 where I think go way back to the 1960s. That they are null and void. Well, again, that's subject to interpretation, but it would seem to me it will still be good law until Parliament pass laws for nullify them, for consolidate them, or for amend them. Or there are other ways laws can be passed. People need to understand. It's not only Parliament that passes law or that makes law. The courts make law. And the way the courts make law, when, for example, all this police brutality over the talk show, like this captain or this police officer who just in the talk say police can get standing orders. I don't know what he means by that, because but let we assume say the talk was standing orders that will empower them for do what you need to do. Well, the interviewer touched on it. This is where the Bar Association should be challenging these laws. Take the matters to court. So that cap 150 day way to talk about. If a court rule that cap 150 day unconstitutional, that becomes the law. Parliament doesn't need to pass any more law, because the court has ruled that it is violative of the existing constitutional organ of the country. That becomes the law of the land.
Okay, Lawyer Shilon, if I can pause you there, sir, there is a part 2 to the tape, and you don't preempt the tape. This is what clever people do. And I don't know whether you don't watch the tape previously, but like you see, this is where lawyers then supposed for the challenge them. This exchange, lawyers them in at the studio. So it's very, very interesting. We will play that second part there for you. But Mother Dana, I wonder whether Mother have listened to. Yeah, you want to say something, sir?
Yes. Prince, what I want to say is that first of all, me and Mr. Shilon will say whatever is in the Constitution is superior to any other law, secondary laws made from whether through standing orders and whatever. So the law within the Constitution will override whatever standing orders they may not get 1964, 1965. If a current law can put on precede 1964, mean to say that law they override whatever this man they refer to. Let's move on.
Okay, lovely one there, Sister Janet, and of course, una na the lawyer na but I 10 for 1 agree. So Vicky wants to speak about the political side or the other side of things as to why, if this is true, and we go to read that shortly because there's a second part of the clip in which lawyers engage them and tell them, I think exactly what una they say so. But Mother Day on the program as well, and he hasn't spoken for a while. I wonder whether, Mother, did you listen to the video where we play of the Assistant Commissioner of the Sierra Leone Police?
Yeah, yes.
So you want to intimate something? You want Kamisa? You want chime perspective, please?
Well, yeah. Before you play that video, I make earlier on. I think I'll be talk say there are certain things in our constitution and change. Unfortunately, but even when they change, Janet and Mr. Shinanda say this one. Even when things change, when we actually rally around people and they change certain things, for somehow in Salon we can change things then somehow the old one that we actually you count for reform or to modify, then can still for left hand day and still operate on them, and if they're gonna court, some people not can do nothing about that. I feel say we owe us, man. Then get a lot to play into, like Mr. was saying. I don't know, man. I meant to make laws, but you can't any
Okay.
you know, before you can law, so being agreement for before
Okay, Mother, your audio is barely audible, brother. So let we move on while you try for adjust time and maybe get us some bandwidth, because it's important that people are hearing you because critical thing now you address. So let we go quickly. I mean, we'll allow you for coming back once it's sorted. So once in a while now for try and see if you clear to me, then definitely we will bring you back. Sister Janet, do you think we can go into the second part of this video here?
Yes, sir. What I want for suggest as well.
Sure.
I want to get another series, another session. Maybe today, Wednesday, we can come back on Sunday again for follow up so that we actually teaching people. So yes, Mr. Prince, go ahead. But I want to ask whether Mr. Shilon and Mr. Madam Musa go for come again on another day. So we'll continue this program over the weeks for just how they educate with people. Is that okay?
Yes, it's fine with me, Mr. Schuller.
Okay, Mother, we don't lost Mother again briefly. But yes, obviously, and there is a consensus on educating the people and saying that one of the solutions down there. I think Mother be mentioned that. So we're happy that Mr. Shilo Nongi answer. I mean, right here live, and we really appreciate that. So many thanks. Let me listen to the second part of this all important video.
Let me check section 188 of the same constitution we talk about. We adopt the 1964 Police Act. So which means whatever we do with inside the Police Act, illegal.
ACP.
So look,
That's my argument. Now get this clear. We have
as they talk about the legality, law also don't forget say certain set of people go visit this detainee when I eligible they talk about when I in brother, colleagues, musician, a producer, and also a female musician where the police be also allegedly arrest where they now in custody at the same time, and when they shave their hair also. But this female musician where na Stasi, the same day the police be release her. Why all in your case different from people who are detained we still now in custody?
Stasi on the same issue.
Yes.
I have to check that one. I don't even know whether
where I say police get arrested.
I know they make so many arrests, but individuals by name. I don't know them by. I know people were arrested. I know people were arrested, including somebody with the same name brother. Understand? But Stasi, I don't even know. If you put on film, I don't even know his name.
Commissioner,
honestly, I don't even know Stasi this.
Commissioner, looking at this
I know
whole
the follow-up.
situation of LAJ, let me know the reason why it's still daily. Because yes, in any case, you get two sides of it. The complainant, we go raising concern, okay, in case go to the police or law enforcing body. Is it that LAJ in detain one still based on the complainant or on the law enforcing body, when at the police for ensure say, discipline them?
He did it because the law say for did it. The law give me power under Section 17, subsection 3 of Act number 6 of 1991 for detaining for something up to 10 days. I know how to understand. So we still within the law as provided for. Understand? So then he did it. But I'll tell you, say, before the
say, you know, say the bar association are one where they don't condemn and say it illegal.
Look at the legality of maybe we'll go back now court and court will discuss them. But me they say, look clear, this is very important. This me get the conviction, say it get legal basis.
So assistant commissioner.
No, clear this one. I beg. Okay. This is very important. This is not the way I did the argument there.
Okay, continue.
I might be right or wrong. No law get somebody who get person guy the interpreter. Understand? I might be wrong or right. So but look at the legal basis, waiting the constitution, waiting the law say. If you read cap 150 of the law of Sierra Leone of 1960, if you look at cap 150, section 65, give the police power for make standing orders. Then at the generic form. Or 65(8) of that one, it tells you say the police provide standing orders for the one of having for one cell and the people where they inside the cell. But all left cap 150 because we see that only in 1960. 4 years after, when 1964, when the Police Act of 1964. Check section 59, subsection 6. It is still there. So which means waiting in a cap 150 was adopted in the 1964 Police Act. I'm still coming. And then people will say, I know people will talk about section 17115. Now the Constitution where they say anything we know they in tandem, any law we know they in conformity with the Constitution is a nullity. But let me check section 188 of the same Constitution we talk about. We adopt the 1964 Police Act. So which means whatever we do with inside the Police Act, illegal.
ACP.
So
that's my argument. This is very. Let's get this clear. We have
as they talk about the legality, law also don't forget say certain set of people go visit this detainee when I eligible they talk about when I in brother, colleagues, musician, a producer, and also a female musician where the police be also alleged.
I don't even know whether
where I say police get arrested.
I know they make so many arrests.
On the law enforcing body, when are the police for ensure LAJ in detain one still based on the complainant or on the law enforcing body, when are the police for ensure say discipline them?
It did it because the law say for did it. The law give me power under section 17, subsection 3 of Act number 6 of 1991 for detaining for something up to 10 days. I know how to understand. So we still within the law as provided for. Understand? So then he did it. But I'll tell you say before the
okay, I think say we don't hear it, and unfortunately, the part demo side, this is not one of the lawyers at the beginning, but then I think say now the shorter version of this particular video, now I record and I get the other one way longer lost. But at least we get the gist. Mother, you're back, and I believe say you hear this. Before we go to una all to the guests, then probably Sister Janet want take this over and pose the question based on this video we just watched of the police assistant police commissioner and spokesperson for the police, Brahma Obre Kamara, an aspiring lawyer, by the way, he studied law and he's a big man in the police. Janet? Okay, Sister Janet is not on the line. Mada,
Yes, yes. Can you hear me?
yeah, you been a speak, and then obviously the audio been bad, and then we just play the second. But probably you can just box up all two and let we hear your opinion, please.
See, so uh, I feel them don't make some type of modifications to the police law and stuff, but sadly, from the time I listened to this video, because I watched this video, somebody posted it in TikTok, and I watched and I
Okay.
was like, wow. So the police still operate under waiting the 1961 or is it 1961, 1964 Act of the Police, so we give them right for hold somebody all the way to certain amount of time. See, that make me I always the campaign for reforming the police, because, and also in reforming the police, we also need for change certain things. We police they operate by, because if we get documents like that inside the constitution, we talk say yeah, they can hold somebody up to 10 days, and okay, just keep them there and forget about them for 10 days. And it's legal for you to do that. And if they do that, then they're not breaking the law. So the thing we get a problem now the constitution in that case, right? So let me say let me be asked for a solution earlier. Say we are the solution. We can be major part of the solution. In Obama, when we run for campaign, right? He said we need for change certain things, and he say we are the ones we've been waiting for. Hello? Can you guys
Yeah,
still hear me?
Mada, would hear you talk. Would hear you.
Okay, I don't know. I can go on live for like hours. I don't know what's happening today, but anyway.
No,
So
would hear you. I mean,
Obama
the
said,
audio has been giving
Momo,
problem,
go
but this
play.
particular side is clean.
No.
okay. So Obama said we are the ones we've been waiting for. Let me carry talk say now we need for continue for talk, because I saw some people then posting the videos like, well, we don't need to talk about this thing too much. Let's lay it to rest. No. And this is the reason why we keep having all these problems, because along with something happen, everybody comes on board, bang, 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 we make noise. After 1 week, 2 weeks, the same people who were making all this noise, we talk to them, say, Salon, nothing go for a change. We give up so easily. We give up so easily. We start something, we campaign about this thing. We know it is wrong. We know they need to change certain things in the constitution. We know the police need to change how they operate, because the police department are they part of right now. In the 1960s, 1980s, for that black man in this police have now problem. I don't care how you go training, I don't care what kind of qualification you get, go day. But what thing people then do? Sometimes we can underestimate the power we get as citizens. I'm not talking about you go there and riot and broke people and else. No, we have power. We can march. We can demonstrate. We can talk to people who don't represent we. But anyway, then a topic for another discussion, because some of the people who represent we don't even know why they are there in the first place. I'm a representative of this area, but I don't even know what they're supposed to do. But let me come back to the topic. What did the black people here did? What did they do? They rally. They gathered people. They say, hey, the way the police they act say we will not get any power, and we are citizens here. We need representation in the police department. We need to change it. And the way then they treat certain races according to the police order of operations, they need to change that, because that they discriminate against we. So we need to do the same thing. That's why somebody posted like, oh, we don't need to talk too much. I said, no, we've not even started talking. We need to talk until somebody hears what we're saying.
Yeah.
And just because they don't sentence these people them to 3 years, don't mean say the case done. No, you're not done. We as people, where we actually want for let's along go forward. Now for begin for talk, say no. I know say I don't put them people in jail. I know say the courts don't talk, but even when the courts talk, right now, waiting the justice, the Supreme Justice then do. They don't pass that, they don't overturn Wade. People are gathering. They are protesting. They're saying, no, we get for protest against this until we actually see something change. So Leonas, we need to do the same thing. I'm not telling you that go over there, go begin to stone somebody or somebody to pass and be in cost, but no, let's keep talking. Let's educate more people. Let's tell them, say, it's not about APC or about SLPP. It is about the future, because today it is LAJ, and not only LAJ. Okay, for these people then, for say riot, disorderly conduct and riotous behavior, 3 years. 3 years?
Ridiculous.
3 years? Yes. And I mean, there's so much wrong in this case, but sadly, a lot of people are not are not saying it, and they're not willing for listen to reasoning, sense of But salon people, if you want to move forward,
yeah,
we have to
that is very, very true. And now the same thing when they talk about police brutality and the abuse of the law, and we go post something within the context of that video they will show, because there's plenty talk about the law and the constitution, and luckily for we get lawyer Shilon. But just before I hand over to Janet for posing next question, probably based on the video we just show and constitution and the police and all this act way the police boss they talk about. I just want to let we know, say the last voice that spoke was that of a brother, Undo Mahey Madam Musa. I hope I pronounced that right.
Say Madam Musa, my actual last name at Taluva actually is Madam Musa Taluva. Don't mind in Mende just means paramount chief. So it's Madam Musa.
Chief. So now chief now we get so today. Well, that's good. I got to be careful. I got to be careful now they address me. Anyway,
so Madam Musa.
Yeah, go on. Let me hear that. Go on, Mada.
Yeah. So it's Mada Musa, and the last name actually. I can let for keep my last name out of social media, but I mean for this reason it's Taluva. My last name is Taluva, and it's Taluva.
Taluva, Mada Musa Taluva.
Yes.
PC Mada Musa Taluva. Okay. Many thanks for that. And Fambulem, I just let you understand again, say this now an opportune moment by virtue of the guests the way we get. They are professional in many and every respect that I don't come for understand. And just for giving a background again on Madam Musa Taluva, again over 10 years of law enforcement work experience, and is actually working within a law enforcement police department in the United States of America. Again, 6 years experience as community mediator for the city, and have a master's in criminal justice as well as law enforcement and security management. Who better can you have, here for the issue on hand here tonight? Janet?
Yes, sir. That's why we handpicked him. So Mr. Shillon, I know say you don't sit down for a little while, but really truly speaking now, and this constitutional battle between this police them and the lawyers in Sierra Leone, I think say, and like when you talk about the last time, constitutional law, and that this BNT now we rely on the constitution so much. And this make the police they're not able to understand, say, this them powers there where they been get inside the cap 150 of 1960 Police Act. Definitely not go work with the one where they get in section 17.3 1964. So that's 1961 they go don't go. So 1917 section 17.3 now ain't gonna be active, now they rely on now. But I want you to look into that and say, how can they correct the system very quickly so they not get this clash? There is an overlap here maybe in the laws.
Well, I think one of the quickest way they can really try to correct the system. Well, maybe I just go back a little bit. Now we get to point out the contribution or lack of contribution by the magistrate who sentenced them Pupuya. Yeah, because you see, you can tell, say, he's very poorly trained. I know he's not going to receive this well if he ever receives me say that, but we have to call things as we see them.
Absolutely.
Because anywhere in the world, nobody, no judge, no magistrate will give people active time. Active time is a phrase in America will mean prison time. Active time in jail or in prison, let alone 3 years. What could this magistrate be thinking about? Now, is that how they assess? Is that what people and freedom mean to them or to him? That people, because he give somebody 3 years, they will not get any articulable facts where he come up with for justify such a lengthy sentence. Will not even see any articulable fact when the magistrate come up with for demonstrate a violation of the very law under which he convicts people. Because he say riotous conduct. Well, these are some of the things you can test. You can test now the Constitution. What constitutes a riot and what conduct becomes righteous or whatever they call them.
Riotous.
Yeah, riotous, because the pronunciation
yes.
is very different. Then what constitutes that? And Sierra Leone, that is notorious, again, like I said earlier, for keeping cases at bay for years. These people were accused of having violated the law in a matter of a week or two. They've been tried and convicted. So what about the constitutional guarantee in terms of being able to prepare your defense? This magistrate thinks we not even know the representation, whether these people were even represented by lawyers, but let's say assume they were. How much time would any sentence, any case or any crime will land somebody in jail for even 6 months, let alone 3 years? The lawyers should have been given adequate time to prepare the defense.
Exactly.
You see? So does the magistrate have a political agenda? Does he think he's really helping the system by promoting a political agenda? Or how does that help the judicial system at a time we foresee a reasonable exercise of judicial discretion? This to me is a gross abuse of judicial discretion.
It is.
We shouldn't have done that. So then this thing about the police arresting people. What are the guidelines? Because Assistant Commissioner Kamara talk about sorry about the distraction. Assistant Commissioner talk about they get 10 days where they can detain somebody. But what under what conditions? Because there have to be guidelines. They just can't detain somebody 10 days, even if there is no reasonable, articulable basis for detaining the person. So all these things should be tested constitutionally. And it seems to me that's what the lawyer should be doing. Cases like this help everybody. Parliament is not going to change laws affecting them police officers here, the misconduct. Now the lawyers will get this responsibility. Mr. Musa, you talked just now about black people and demonstration and all this kind of thing. Exactly. So the Bar Association, they will not forget to say, at the time when this country became separate but equal at the top of America, massive racial discrimination. Now the lawyers were, where schools were segregated, where housing were segregated. Now lawyers then became in the forefront, using the Constitution as a weapon for make things better for we all. So that may believe at the training I do make in America, the law can be a powerful weapon. You just get to know how to use them.
Exactly.
So me think say the Bar Association owe it to the country. They should start training young lawyers in constitutional law. They should start changing magistrates and judges. Because if you get a magistrate like the one who just give people in 3 months, 3 years in jail,
3 years.
Well, he has no concept of what the Constitution is all about and doesn't seem to care. So the judges themselves need training.
Yeah, because Mr. Shilon, the problem with Sierra Leone that I come to learn, they don't have sentencing guidelines. And I was shocked.
No, they're not getting.
Oh yeah.
How could they not have sentencing? So this is up to the judge's discretion for jailing anyhow he wants.
Yeah.
How is it? I don't understand it.
Yeah. There was a case where a while back where then say this guy raped a kid, and the judge, that was like a big slap in the face where they say the judge he sentenced the man. So how long was it? Like a month or day or so? Or like, really? That's a slap in the face. But anyway, let's come back to this. So much so much needs to be done in Salon, and but a lot unfortunately people can begin talking and can say politics. No, let's put politics aside, because how long are we going to be under people in the camp and they change laws? But after the law changes law, like the Act of 1960 and 1964. So if you say we don't change something, now this one, the new one, we'll forgo it. But the police is still operate under the one way fits them. They still operate under the old one because this one suits us. This one works for us. Imagine I'm a police officer here. Every time I arrest somebody, I begin to and say, well, in 1961, this is what the United States Constitution said. So because of that, I'm going to actually beat you up. Because back then they had the right. I go torture you until you tell me which thing I want for you. So imagine I was doing that same thing. So Salon, that's all I'm saying. That's all we are saying here. Let us change the way our police act. Let us change the way our cabinets, the parliamentarians, let us change the constitution. Let us change certain things so that it will get to a point where everybody will be treated as humans, not as just somebody. Anybody. If I get mine, I can put you in a jail and throw you the key, and you go in a jail forever. Because we know, say the judges, they have the power. You can do something. You go to judges. If you sabi somebody, if you sabi the judge, you go talk to the judge. The judge will just come pass in guidelines, say, hey, because of what you don't do so, I'm going to throw you away. And now we just see this is a very big example. They arrest this guy, will not give them. They not give the lawyers time for them to actually go back there, because that's what people do over here. The lawyers go back outside the crime occurred. They look at all the evidence, they look at all the facts, and look at all the witnesses, get for interview all the witnesses them. And after that, then go back to the office, then prepare everything, all the defense and everything they bring out and go to court. Now, if we're not satisfied, okay, if we're not satisfied, they ask for more time. But in this case, it's like not treason. Like somebody actually wanted to kill everybody in Salon, so we have to hurry up and sentence these people. What's the rush for? What's the rush for? Anyway, there's so much.
Anyway,
so much.
Gentlemen, what I want to say is that we are coming. I don't know whether Prince is here, but I want to say we're coming close to closing time. I want to be able to invite you guys to come back at a certain time. Prince, are you there? Are we?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Do we
sir.
have enough time to go further, or can we wrap up?
I think we don't hold we guess them now just a little bit over 2 hour mark, but with the consent, because the
Oh, I'm
topic
lost.
with
No,
the
no, lost me.
consent.
I think Janet just lost you. Well, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
I can
Janet,
hear you
you hear me
guys.
now? Okay, she's
Okay.
gone, but she'll come back again. But what have been the time for say to our consent? Maybe we can do 15 minutes for just
Well, I may not be able to do any more minutes because I'm running out of power myself.
Oh, okay. Okay,
And
then that's
I don't get,
understood. That's understood,
yeah,
Mr. Sheila. We don't want to let you go further. So one
yeah.
thing, we don't make an appeal to una publicly, and una don't agree. Mother, we send we make an appeal earlier on. I think we lost you briefly for come back again. Because definitely it doesn't end here, and we get for continue for educate. In other words, matter what you say, and there's a lot there, your input by Mr. Shilon as well. But before we lose you in terms of power, we go like for give you the floor, so you will provide a summary of this entire thing. Remember, say we dey talk a lot of what we talk about generally get for do with police brutality, but there's a context there where we touch on briefly regarding LAJ, because now the most one now at the time, we they all over the place. So we don't lost Mr. Lawyer Shilon, in fact, maybe in basket or one out. But you the listen,
Okay.
matter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah. So but I think say there is a general agreement that the law not take in due course, but we are being told, and this is not the question I want to ask you, because I don't hear what you say. It's obvious that the law not take in due course. But this not big man then where they talk. You get the police chief where they talk, the assistant police chief, and then seem for one for justify the action. But from what I understand from this panel, the actions taken is not within the ambit of the law.
So,
Why?
so
Yeah. I think you get
yeah.
what
Go
I'm
ahead. Go
trying.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go on. I think you get what I'm trying to say, or you.
Yeah. So in the first place, what I want to let some people know, whenever from the same institution, you get. In fact, before the police chief began talk, the commissioner of police, no, Inspector General IG. Sorry, I can mix up with the young commissioner. Before he can talk, there was a press release, and there was also a little bit of conflict of what he talked and what the press say earlier on, and also we see at this point now, and just they can't try for backup what the police do. I think, in my own humble opinion, and also based on my experience and what I know about salon police and salon practices, I strongly believe, say, the police overstepped their boundary. Did they have rights to arrest LJ and the other people? Of course, they have rights. That's what the police do. Not a right. Who person commit a crime? It is the job of the police to go there and arrest a person. And you can use, in fact, over here we have the force continuum, wherein you have different steps that you go to in trying to detain this person. So you have to go to number first, now hands on, well, not verbal, and then hands on. Then you go use all the steps all the way up. You see, I don't watch the video. The video of me watch because somebody tell me see the video I watch, not to the right video, but the video I watch, I will keep that for maybe another conference. But the video I watch, the police go there and then they try for effective police an arrest. And I hear people in the background say, not even put your hand in, not even say anything. People were saying that to LJ, But then they say that people are saying there's another video. Okay, let's say he actually committed this crime. He did all that stuff. Una go there, una don't arrest him, una don't crango. He's in your custody. He's no longer a threat to the person that he victimized. And also, let's talk about the victim here, the first victim at the gas station, because people tend to be asking me that all the time. You say, what about that person? You not get right. That person has right, So now make we talk, say they have a right where LJ allegedly assaulted that person. The police went there, did their job, they arrested this person, then can go na the cell. Then job at the first step, it was done there. As far as you cutting that guy, LJ not to Samson say if in here, this in here, yeah, go get for user, me go bang the wall go for them. And somebody talk say, we don't hear a lot of stuff about suicide. Suicide is so people then get mental problem, they commit suicide all the time. I have responded to a lot of suicide cases. Not one of them ever wouldn't say this one. Somebody using hair for hanging self. So because of that, yeah, not one of them. With the stay rope. If I don't know how long and strong this person here is for that good snap force. It go tie the hair up here and there, and then come back around and come around, put it around the neck. But anyway, what they did, in my opinion, and from my own experience, from what I studied at school, thank God, I also did criminal justice in school, university, and one of the good universities now this country, and called St. Louis University. I went to that and I read what's in the book say about criminal justice, about human rights, about people and rights, and for do different things, and what's in police for do. All right, and I also went through the police academy over here. I don't go through different training, and I know for a fact that what they do was out of line, And but now from that time they were to the scene, the police they try for backup stories, but then in trying to do that, then they conflict themselves because here's
absolutely, Madai. I want to bring down the country. Good way you bring can up because normally, of course, you do criminal justice and you don't go through all kind of levels of training within the police system, and say evidence get for be consistent. It has to be it get for corroborate, waiting X, Y, C, then you get more juice, more substance. But in this case, it look like say this they say one thing. Yeah, very conflicting. Does it worry you? Does it bother you?
Well, it should, and it should bother every Sierra Leonean, because if you don't say this is what happened, every time we then call on this person, we have to say the same thing. Because if we not consistent in what you're saying, as police officers, now then thing we look at clues. If you call me for a domestic, for example, oh yeah, he came in, he was drunk and he slapped me and blah blah, I fell and I hit my head on the wall. And then we came back, okay, so what happened? Oh no, you know what happened? He came, he was sleeping, and I went over, I was trying to jump over somewhere, I touched him and he got up and he hit me. So now I get conflicting stories. So Absolutely. The third time, sometimes what we can do, we separate now. I get another officer, talk to her again and see. So from then, I didn't tell you watch as police department. So now that's what they watch. So if the police department is giving conflicting story, if it should worry every Sierra Leonean, we want for Cisalongo before. But you don't want for Cisalongo before, or we just want for just comfortable, and then that's fine. But it should worry everybody. It worries me. Because if that happened to me tomorrow, if I go to airport and somebody can arrest me in the airport, and this person saying that this you do, another person saying no, X you do, and the one saying that V, and then you guys should say like, okay, there's something wrong here.
Yeah. Janet, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Before I see this to you, I just ask one follow-up question just quickly on the same
Yes.
basis. And on the
Yes.
basis of of course, Mother don't say it should worry every Sierra Leonean.
Yes.
Or at the try for impress on Mother, an experienced police officer, we don't go through many trainings in the advanced world. Although we
Yes.
old people, they always try for segregate and say, oh yeah, na America, oh yeah, na Africa. I wonder how much the difference between policing there. We don't say there are differences, but policing is policing. There's a
Yes.
general consensus on what police mean, what they do to serve and to protect. And human right is guaranteed in the Constitution.
Okay.
You know, this incident, I understand, say happened on the 12th of June, I believe. But again, this telltale story, the way with the not just add up. And it's somehow extremely worrying because if you've been a come up from ordinary people, then you might take it with a pinch of salt, but you go carry on. But this is coming from an institution, the police. And one of the things that we hear as well from the police is like a chase ensued. And this came from we reporter na on the BBC stringer Uma Ufofana. We live streamed this to the BBC for say after the thing happened, a chase ensued from the west, whose side the thing happened, and ended up in the east where this man was apprehended. If a chase ensued, I don't know matter when last you were in Freetown, how much more you know about Freetown and the many traffic situations where they talk about a chase. When the road a chase go happen, when a police actually chase, when there's traffic all over the place, and you are the police, you could send messages ahead, and whoever will be, within the police ward or legal ward, interceding and exactly.
Yes.
I mean, help me for understand because this has been doing my head. How does this work? I mean, take yourself off the American police for a while and fit yourself inside the Sierra Leonean police and give you an impression as to your thoughts.
Well, for answer your question, I go salon very frequently. Sometimes I go like twice a year. Except for last year, now only one time I go, and I'll go December. So I can go April, I can go December, and every year. And I know say the traffic, easy from west to east, easy. That's number one. My own experience from chasing the car because that's American police who they chase car more than everything. All right. So one thing we chase somebody, how many accidents did they have? How many people in call say we get accident because we were chasing this guy?
Exactly.
Did they because we did chase somebody? I mean, were you? Let me just be honest with you, man. I know a lot of things and the way they talk about this case, I don't believe. The only thing what I feel say the police do is like if they report a crime, you went there, you arrested the person, you did your job well. But as far as this other stuff like we chase this guy, even if you chase the guy, let's say they actually chase him. When you chase a guy, still does not give you the right to overstep your boundary. Because take for us, we can chase somebody, what thing that we can add? Would they add the crime? Number one, resisting arrest. Because if they enter for arrest you run away. Crime number one is resisting arrest. Crime number two, were there any accident, you'll be responsible. They will charge you with that accident, right? So now the things that they can watch for. And also, if there was any crime committed, like really chase somebody, you go hit a wall or you go kill somebody and all that stuff, then they add those crimes to the original charge we then get for you. So that will make sometimes they hold you longer and all that stuff. But now, don't say in this case, I don't see any report we talk say because of them they chase this guy, there was 10 accidents here, or this person they even bang this person, now this person foot done broke, or then go bang somebody else because of this chase. So now in America, where there are all these things that can happen, we still after all arrest this person. This is the law. This is what we do. Somebody go talk say, well, America, they don't kill George Floyd. The people can go out of the lines, then can hold them responsible. I think we said that earlier on. Say, if somebody goes out of the law, let will make them. Since you guys are trying to compare Salon to America, should we go after these police officers we caught LAJ in here? And if they arrest them unlawfully, should we go after them? And if we go after them, if we find them for say they actually step outside the the police department for fire them without pay and all that stuff, even possible jail time. Should we do that? You know, so
Yeah.
and I'm just telling you that.
I think that's a good reflective question, Andy. Like I just play with final video for tonight, and then I just give Janet for taking from here now to the end. Let me watch this video and see. Yeah, please.
Operate within the realm of custom, and Michael is never a custom officer because he does not have an identity card and he is not on a payroll by the government of Sierra Leone. And as we speak now, at the order, Albert, come, and you, Michael, is under arrest at this point in time, yeah? So, what if he say? You know that?
Okay, that was just. We are laughing even though it's serious, and I know say we don't mean them as such, to be comical about it. But what you will see initially from the video, the man where they do the talking, he get boku button, so which shows that he's a senior police, officer. I mean, and look what it ensue up to the point where the video go blank, but we see waiting develop. I mean, these are the kind of things that we see every day. But I go left hand with I don't know whether Mother want to go what inside the back, but I go left hand.
No, I really want to see that video again because I know. please, I want actually before.
Okay, of course I'll play one more time.
Because at first actually, if it's not play, if it's not somebody, really just ask something.
Oh no! This is a police officer, but of course I go left hand for let you see for yourself now. The second time, and let's see what you make of this.
That we have people here where for operate within the realm of custom, and Michael is never a custom officer because he does not have an identity card and he is not on a payroll by the government of Sierra Leone. And as we speak now, at the order, Albert, come, and you, Michael, is under arrest at this point in time, yeah? So, what if he say? You know that?
So one day I go play this video further for you because I see a larger part of this video and I not be visiting the archive prior to this program. But at least you've seen it for the second time and you have an idea now. A senior button policeman, the effect and arrest. Of course, there's a situation there, and this is just indicative of the thing that really happen in the country on a daily basis. But over to Janet, you run the rest of the program tonight.
Yes, thank you so much. And when we watch that video, you begin to realize that violence not only restricted to the public, but also open to themselves. One against the other. Because if you, with all them button and the way they talk about, so you follow the rule, like way Mother don't put them and to read tonight. You follow the rules and where you get the books, then get a disciplinary and then I've got a whole PDF where they talk about waiting not for do and all of those things. But it appears they've thrown all of that away. They just walk, on their own. They are the law themselves. So this is where we want to differentiate this understanding. You are not the law. You're working for the law. And you should respect the law if you want the citizens out there to respect the law. So I think this is the teaching that for that, where we take away this excessive power we didn't get. I mean, it's there's a conflict here. Definitely. We need to address that. We need to tell them people like I say, when you violate the rights of the citizens, there are consequences to that. Salon, we're not seeing one policeman we don't go jail because he banged somebody and not gone.
Yeah.
So I think we need to look into that. But Mother, you know what? I would like to have you back here because listen, there is so much I learned tonight from you. And the other thing again, Prince, I'm sorry, Mr. Shilon don't left and maybe don't escape a little bit. I left for that. But it would be nice again, Prince, if you can bring my brothers back here, maybe this weekend or some other time to continue this program. And we'll bring in Mr. Lansana and others maybe another policeman from Sierra Leone, if an old, retired police officer, we go and come and can talk what is missing in Sierra Leone, what we need to do. But for me, my focus really, Prince, is about the Internal Affairs Minister. I was speaking to Mada behind the scenes a couple of days ago about this minister. Mayfield will say we need for contact and say, you've seen all these things that the police are doing. You don't get nothing where you just say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? This brutality is not going to stop until, Mada says, we begin to put certain things into place. Safeguards. We begin to put policies into place.
Sister Janet, I be say the art for left the talk to you alone because if you reach a point where can make person in mouth scratch. But
It means as if it talks unto our response.
Yes.
But
But
Yes, sir.
not just a quick one with regard because this problem seem for Mona we all. This is what I deduce from this conversation here tonight.
Yes, sir.
So we attempt for also profile solutions.
Yes.
And then this last part where you mentioned, I make a jump back inside.
Yes.
You say you've been talk to Mother behind the scenes, and this got for do with the man we responsible for the police. But the man we responsible for the police will happen for me, the Internal Affairs Minister.
Yes.
This phrase okay, power from above. It's not a joke, it's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
So until there is this is the last point.
Mm-hmm.
Until there is a political will, the police cannot change without a political will because it's so been interconnected with the system. Now the system they play the police. It's been politicized. It happened in the 1980s, and then the police go through reform after the civil strife, and then we are going back again into that same phase in which the rights of the people, as guaranteed by the Constitution, is not being respected. Then they abuse the people right in daylight before everybody else. Outside of the Constitution, and nothing is happening because there's no political leadership, no political. We no need for hesitate for say this. And until that changes, we find somebody we're willing for take on the establishment. And they talk about political leadership for change this narrative and not use the police, as a paramilitary force for perpetuate yourself in a power or for doing dirty killings. Then there is nothing that is going to happen. Honestly, and this is where we are, and in my projection, it's likely only going to get worse. I close on them one day.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Now, two things, and we're trying to really talk now. Two things actually from the big onset I want to talk about. Maybe we skip a little bit. Well, I just escaped me, and we really talk. And unfortunately, where this thing can happen, people that really support them, they tell you say this not police matter. I just want to talk on this for 1 minute, then we'll go to the next point I want to make. Of course, police matter, and this not just police worldwide. Sir Robert Peel are the man we start policing. He said because people every day too much and nobody listen to law, they nobody listen to anything. So we need to get a system where you go make sure say people everybody begin to abide by the rules, the common law,
And
all the other laws.
The police, the bobbies.
Bobby, Robert Peel.
Bob
Peel. So let's start all this stuff. So police matter now for enforce law, to protect and to serve, to protect people and to serve them. Okay, so law we define within a police matter and within a human rights matter. Whenever police they do in job and they go over that job and abuse in power, it is no longer, and I said this in my video, one of my videos, and I'll say it again, it is no longer a police matter. It now becomes a civil rights matter. So for we listeners out there, for people who are watching this, and you can quote me on this, you can do your own research anywhere. So Lord, therefore, talk with something.
Can you repeat that, please? Mother, can you repeat that, please?
So the difference between police matter, because something can happen a lot of times, people that can under my videos that I made, it's like, this is not police matter, because I was saying something about the next one when at the Internal Review Board, which is above the police inspector general. So, but police matter now for enforce laws, for protect lives and property. That is the police matter, when it's a police matter, say you have incident and somebody don't abuse you, you call the police, that's a police matter. But whenever police, they perform their duty and they overstep the boundary to the point that they abuse somebody of inhuman rights, or they beat somebody, or they take the laws into their hands, it is no longer a police matter. It is now a civil rights matter. So now that's because somebody can know this is a police matter, which make if you say the internal review board for kind side. Because the internal review board, I should say, it's still in a salon. As the last time I checked, salons still get the internal review board where they now office directly under the office of the vice president. Okay, so then I just want to say this real quick, because the last video I put the last time, somebody say why the couch politics policy has nothing to do with this. It has everything to do, because we all know say the police now force of the state. And in every state, you have a governing body. So if police, they act bad, that governing body, no matter how you look at it, has some type of blame in the end, whether we like it or not. If APC come here and police begin to do a lot of bad stuff, at the end of the day, they say na APC police. So that's why I was saying the last time, I said, so if the police, if we all don't say the inspector general, you don't do something, or the police department don't do something, we're not right. We have an internal review board, IRB. So therefore don't step in, therefore don't say, hey, this is not right. And if they're not able to do nothing, because the vice president is actually, according to the structure, I don't know if you don't change now.
No,
he's actually over everything. So now directly the review board reports to. So maybe they can actually step in, maybe they can actually step in and say, hey, I know say, George, you don't do this or everything, but if not, let we try for adjust a little bit of how police will react to certain things. I'm a policeman. I'm not going to go against police if they're doing their job. But if you're not doing their job, even at my department here, I don't go to calls. I don't go to calls when I fight. We go to calls for fight. Somebody's fighting. We don't arrest people them. And somebody wanted to be hyper. I pull them off. I say, no, this is not our job. In fact, I don't even want you here. If you're assisting me, I don't want you on my case anymore. So go somewhere else. I do that. My job is to do my job. At the end of the day, we're going to also I'm for little and sleep. Incident happened in the last Pride Fest. I don't know if you guys follow the America. I will get a Pride Fest wherein I had an arrest. Somebody recorded that video and showed me. When they showed me that video, the first time I looked at that video, I was like, wow, what did I do? And then later, the more I look at that video, and people are like, no, you did not do anything wrong. At that point, you think you did do something, but you were in the middle of 100 people. Everybody's recording, and you were just there, me and my trainee. So whenever police do bad, because I'm very, very opinionated. Mark and Janet, we've been friends on Facebook for a long time. We've been friends when flood happened and all that stuff. So you see my post and all that stuff. So I'm a police officer.
I know.
Before I'm a police officer, I'm a person first. So I want every police officer, if you're listening to this, if you want to take anything from here, we are all police officers. But before we are police officers, we are human beings. We are somebody's brother. We are somebody's father. We are somebody's uncle. Don't, not just because you get all this power, say I will just use this power and do whatever I need to do. No, sometimes we need to step back, take a deep breath, and do your job. Do your job. We do your job. Me and one person who police officer doing job, I go support you. I go make life for you. I go do videos for you. As long as you're doing your job. But when you go outside and abuse people, then I will never support you. I'll talk against you.
Thank you so very much. So Prince, within matter, don't say this tonight is about putting it clearly out there. Within Lord Parker CJ said that a police officer's duty is to take necessary steps to keep the peace, prevent crime, or protect people from criminal injury or their property from damage. So I think to say that this we need for begin the hammer into the heads of the police officers and as I say, punishment is not your business. Leave punishment with the court. Then they beat people them. Then they kill people them. Then they beat you till they, you merciless and left you go die. Nobody not go able for align you death to you arrest, having been kept in police cells for days and days and days and days. I mean, you know what? We need to do more. We need to speak up. We need to talk to this vice president, maybe write a letter to this vice president, maybe speak to the Minister of Internal Affairs, maybe talk about idea as of Leone. Me no want to talk with them. because he has turned the state, Sierra Leone, into a police state. Look what Mr. Shilom is saying. In officer believes that in get the law. It introduce laws them anyhow we want at your own discretion. And that discretionary law, now we don't want. That's what the law is afraid of. Where people are not accountable for their activities after with them wrong with the citizens them. So you know what, Mother Musa Salva, I am so pleased to have you here. It's a shame, Mr. Shilonongo, but I want you guys to come back here. And Prince, I don't know when is a good time for us to come again. It's a lot of lessons learned tonight. Even me as a person, Mr. Musa, my father that is on this program, don't educate me so much. Mr. Shilon has helped me to
Yes,
understand.
me picking.
Thank you so much. So yes, Prince. So we closing the program, or do we have a little bit of time, or is it
I
time
think
to go?
Madabi want cover another aspect of
Okay,
something.
let's go for it.
Yeah, and it's so much for talk about more, but we don't want to stretch the guests too much. And
Yes.
probably we go give a number of minutes, 5 minutes of talking for
Yes.
wrap up this all important interview. It's plenty time of talking. If you mean they pay for airtime, that will cost a lot. Of course, it's just a light humor joke.
Yes,
But
I know.
Mada, I
Real
want
true.
to say thank you. We may likely arrange something for this Sunday. Sunday now we prime slot. And but of course you're a working man and short notice sometimes they work for we all. But we'll see what happens after this program. Probably in camera we will arrange some other fine date where we go come back again because we need for press this conversation home. You can't just say I want them, you're out of spontaneity because
Yeah.
LG got arrested. We all
Yeah.
get emotional, bam, yeah. And then the government knows that. Then get the algorithm. Then, no matter of time, 1 week, 2 weeks, it all
Mm-hmm.
died down because people get forgot about their various
Oh yeah.
businesses.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
and this is what's been happening.
Mm-hmm.
Or like you say, again, Mother, at the beginning of this program, we don't have to relent. It has to be
Mm-mm.
continuous because the desire or what we do is not born out of being selfish, but it is rather out of being Sierra Leonean first. I
Yeah.
have to
Right,
guess this
right.
is the first time interacting with you, but you must be doing well. I mean, by virtue of your profile and your job, you cannot assure or get guarantee as to the future. Except, of course, this is America. Something like how then people and demonstrate and something be happy when video come out. Let's say if you
Mm-hmm.
don't do wrong because they can throw the book at you, and before
Mm-hmm.
you know, from grace you are to grass.
To
End up
grass, yeah.
criminal
Mm-hmm.
offense, and then
Mm-hmm.
you have nothing, lose your pension and things like that. We know these
Mm-hmm.
things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Although Una can overrun the business as well and pull you from one precinct and send you other side because they can cover Una. We know that. Anyway,
Yeah, no.
on a more serious on a more serious note, just
Mm-hmm.
before we give Mother the floor for wrap up.
Yes.
There's a tradition here where we can acknowledge with viewership not big today, but it's not a problem. We know subsequently a lot more, thousands of more people will watch this. And family, we don't say it's unfair for let we get 2, 3, 5,000, 10,000 people in the watch, and then the likes are like 10, 50,
Mm-hmm.
20. That's really unfair. Say something. I mean, if
Right.
you don't like, you can still contribute by
It
thumbs
in
down.
comments, yeah.
Yeah, give comments. Let's know what we're doing right and what we are not doing right. Sierra
Yes.
Leoneans, we need to rise up. I mean, the things we talk about here is about the future of a country. We not get two country. I mean, you can be some side and give you citizenship. We see sometimes
Mm-hmm.
these citizenships have been revoked.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so we end up again with whose side we actually biologically, demographically
Mm-hmm.
belong, which is
Yes.
home.
Every
This is why we have
logically.
to look after this one Sierra Leone. But I won't say much more. I hope we learn from this. Bangor in Wales was watching. Delwyn, I think that's Ireland, watching. Vandy Fode. What happened to Sayo Conte, who came out to speak the truth? He was demoted How could you expect anything better? I think somebody be mentioned this police commissioner or something by this program.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
Lieutenant, yeah.
Sayo
So now
Kamara,
so now a guest they
Content,
talk
yeah.
about now Vandy
content.
Fode.
Okay.
Yeah. So many thanks for that contribution, Vandy Fode. Kadish M K Conte D. Hello. Yes, my sister. Hello. And Samuel Bangura. This administration is really worse. Not to be compared to the previous government. Okay, that's more political. But if we do the measurement stick, maybe we will arrive at that. But we talk today more Sierra Leonean, less of this politics. But at least government for Yeriwi, we the people are crying. It is not about parties for our nation to avert from these hard policies. Getting leaders of empathy and sympathy for the masses will be vital. And this is what I was trying to say, I think, at some point. And I think we all did reiterate that. Many thanks to our guest. Mohammed Sidi Bari is watching. Hello, sir. Mohammed Sidi Bari. Sober talk, respect. Many thanks for that. Same Bangura, the judiciary have been compromised, and that is why the international community came out openly naming them of their corrupt practices. It is true. I mean, it's so obvious, it's so blatant. Police police director team up come on, man.
Yeah.
Masiva Davis, Vandi Fode, and 14 others are watching. Thank you very much. Abudi Kabo, Alusain Samora, Mustafa Kamara, Dauda Larry Koroma, Kanu Horatio George, Mohammed Toli, they are all watching. Many thanks for that. You cannot divorce political leadership from the state of affairs in Sierra Leone, including the leadership of the judiciary. And it goes on. I agree with that sentiment. That's quite true. Israel Ojeke Papa Sr. The country used to have sentencing guidelines. And I think Mother mentioned that and Sister Janet mentioned that. It seems like these days, these sentencing guidelines are absent. The days of magistrate, grandpa, Kandapa, I don't know what you mean by Kandapa, has long
It's
gone.
him.
Kanapa, yeah.
Okay, well, it makes sense to, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, what has happened to those guidelines? And more, this magistrate sentenced these young men using consecutive jail term rather than concurrent sentences. Yes, I think Sister Janet did talk about that. That's a violation.
Exactly.
Sergio Sisi Kamara is watching. Eddie Jallo is watching. Israel Papa again. The victim's narrative in a video contradicted what the IG Sovula said to Umaru Fofana, and more the IG admits. Yeah, that is quite true and that is quite telling. But again, Umaru is a fellow journalist, but I take umbrage to certain of the reporting where it do, where it not exercise some kind of restraint or apprehension regarding like that chase, for example. I mean, when you the report, Umaru knows it is an experienced reporter, so I won't even go any further. Yeah. Yusuf Jabi, Shuaib Amin, Teresa Jabate, Lamin Usman Kamara, Evarima lawyer. You see, there are loads of people watching, yet the reflecting of the numbers is not concurrent with the people that are watching. And because I don't know, some people are not for sure themselves, some people are not
Yeah,
active,
because
etc.
some people are,
Yeah,
I'm telling my brother, some people are just afraid, The NTR,
yeah,
I still don't want to listen.
exactly. So how
They
do we
got
get this
opinion,
change, brother?
but they rather not say anything.
No,
And
Prince, I tell you what, I think I understand the politics. If we be they say this now, if we be they say, oh, this SFPP government, the police, they do this SFPP government, you go see where they will park Isaiah. We know.
Absolutely. Of course,
so,
that's
but
quite
we
true.
try for be neutral. That's number one. And number two, some people don't want to really talk too much.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
So
anyway, on a more humble note, Fambulem, just
Yes.
before we wrap up this program, and we guest way I want to pay respect to and salute him. He's been absolutely brilliant, and the first time on the dinner now, and he even don't give me what I go come back again, and we respect that because to just any other guest, he's a professional guest, and in terms of criminal justice, policing, constitution, law, and order, I mean you can count on him and forget him for agree say go come back again. I just want to say respect to that. So Fambulem today at the 29th of June 2022, we have been talking about police brutality, which seems for day on the up, and there are many people within the republic where they express that sentiment. So not only us, and as concerned people, we feel it's our duty because we get a platform, we get a megaphone where we think we can mount and at least talk to the people and let we see where are we heading with this. We guest today. We don't lost the other one, Lawyer Shilon, but we still get Brother Mada Musa with us. We go give at least about 5 minutes for let you wrap up this program, because I know say you get more than 5 minutes
And
talk.
last, give me 1 minute.
Big talk.
All right. Thanks, guys. And I just want to say sorry earlier. I guess my phone they will be set up. Say if the network not seem to secured if I drop. So now make me the drop. So now I'm a nephew now going to then go explain to me say well if somebody gets problems like that. So you tell me what for do. If fix them, then make me call not drop again after that. So thanks
Yeah,
to my
you're
nephew.
very clear now. Very clear.
Let me keep on drop again.
Probably
So-
you can put the video on set for the last time. Let's see whether it works as well. Let us see you.
Yeah,
The
let's
man on that
just see
powerful video.
if the
Then maybe
video
you
work.
can
Hi
adjust them
everybody,
again
this is
in
me.
landscape.
That's my
You put
beautiful,
up the
my
landscape.
beautiful father.
Look at me here,
But
right
4
now.
minutes father, yeah, so this is daughter of by you. So this is a problem there.
Huh? Tete?
I said this is a beautiful father. It gets a daughter with nothing at all. So I know there's a problem here.
Oh,
Therefore,
we'll
explain
talk
that you
about
don't
we'll talk about that. Try to fix it. But anyway, guys,
Now
thank
put
you
them
so
in
much for having me.
landscape again. Put them in landscape, mother.
And landscape, okay, la.
Yeah, just turn them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So thank
Yeah.
you so much. And before I left them, for every salon person to watch this, I just want to reiterate, say this is not about any political party. Definitely, like I told this guy on TikTok, I mean, I know the kind of follow we get for get popularity or for gain anything from anything. It's just that we want to make sure, and I'm sure Prince and Janet and the other guest that was here, we're not doing this because we want to get any type of some kind of commission for it or any type of popularity. No more. We're doing this because we know this is the right thing to do. So what we can do as citizens, as people of Salon, is that we have to know when right is right. Let's forget about political affiliations, because this today happened to you today. Because no matter how powerful a government is, they will not stay in power forever, no matter how powerful. Because if we let people in one party does something and we don't say anything, when the other party comes, guess what is going to happen? They're going to do the same thing. Like, after all, you guys did not say anything when these other people were doing it. So that's why at some point we have to draw the line. Like, this is not because of APC, this is not because of SLPP, but this is because of what is right versus what is wrong. And also, if you did not take anything from this meeting today, take this, that you are powerful, we are powerful as Sierra Leoneans. We can make change, things happen. We can talk to our lawyers, we can talk to people around us, and then we can also talk to the people that we elected, because after all, we are the ones that elected them into office. So we can use those powers to make sure that we bring gradually, not right away, but gradually, that we can bring change in the Salon police, change how we are treated. Because if people realize that, hey, these people, they have voices, they know their powers, they know their limits and all that stuff, they'll start treating us better. I'm saying this not because of me. I go to Sierra Leone right now. I know, like, there are people out there you might want to fight for, you might want to talk to, beat me for. But when I go to Salon, if I want to see them, sometimes I'll call them. I actually have some people that can call them directly for me, like, oh, okay, you can come over to my office. You see? So, but this is not about me. It's just about it. Because sometimes when I do those videos, people are like, oh, you just frustrated, oh, blah, 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 blah. No, it's not because of that. Some of us, you just don't want to brag. But if we want to see some people, we can actually, it will happen. But we're not doing this because of me. I'm not doing this because of whoever is on this show here. We're doing it because we want things to stop, so that everybody will be treated equally and everybody will be treated as they should be treated. And also, please do not relent. We need to keep talking about what is wrong in our country. I'm not saying curse anybody, don't curse anybody, don't disrespect anybody, do not destroy anybody's property. No, not do any of that stuff. But we can talk. We can come to platforms and we can share our opinions, and together we can all bring change that Sierra Leone desperately needs. So please, I thank you all for listening today. And next week, or whatever we have the next thing, I'll be more prepared. I'll make sure my internet stays connected so that we can actually have a better discussion. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Prince. Thank you, Janet, for having me on here tonight.
Thank you for coming.
No
Thank you
problem.
for coming too. Janet, last word?
Okay, so this is the hardest bit for me. I just want to say to everybody who is watching, we lost Mrs. Yomkela,
Oh, yeah.
Philomena Yomkela, a very beautiful woman, and a very she was a humanitarian. You know, she believed in equality. She was so she was a people person. She passed away, and I never had the chance to meet her, even though I spoke to her a few times. But I want to take one thing from her, that the love for Sierra Leone will continue. We will continue to love our people, work for our people to make sure we have one purpose, that our people live the life that is respected and in dignity. I want to say to all family members and friends that Mrs. Yomkela will continue to live through us. Thank you, Prince, for having me, and thanks for those who are listening. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have finally come to the end of this particular program, and I just want to add my voice to what Sister Janet just said. In other words, the tribute to a woman that I didn't meet as well, but at least she was a matriarch in every sense of the word.
Yes.
She was the guide and the spirit of a towering political figure in our society, a man who aspired for change. And at a very critical moment, in my opinion, when he will be needing those shoulders, those firm shoulders of a very strong lady. Unfortunately, she is no more. I am deeply moved, and I did send Dr. Kande a tribute earlier on, and I'm proud that he responded. And once again, in behalf of this platform, may I re-echo the words of Sister Janet, and can we please wish the soul of the late Auntie Philomena Yumkela, may her soul rest in perfect and perpetual peace. Thank you all very much for listening, and amen.
Amen. Amen.
And that is it. Thank you again, brother, my mother. We go talk in camera. And for those of you who are watching, I see, of course, I've been saying the number is not great, but there are far more people watching than what is showing on the screen.
Yeah.
And but you can begin to wind down now because the program has come to an end, and we're not normally left for just cut the program off in way people in the watch. But this is it. Every good thing must come to an end. And thank you very much again for watching. Good night and goodbye until then.
God bless.
It's not good.